Okay, so as mentioned, this webinar is going to address Irish citizenship through descent and kind of give an overview of the foreign birth registration process. This is a process that you need to go through in order to become an Irish citizen. Okay, here's just a disclaimer. That this is not intended to be specific legal advice. It's just more of a general discussion about the foreign birth registration process. Okay, a little bit about myself. My name is Ray McEntee. I'm a partner with the McEntee Law Group, and I focus on sports and music immigration and Irish citizenship through descent cases. I myself moved over from Dublin to Chicago a little over 8 years ago. I've been practicing immigration law exclusively since moving to the States. I'm also, as well as being a US licensed attorney, I'm also a solicitor in Ireland, England, and Wales. And as mentioned, I currently live in Chicago. Okay. So I guess the first question is determining if you are an Irish citizen. So if your parent was born on the island of Ireland before 2005, you are an Irish citizen. You don't need to apply for the foreign birth registration. You can just go ahead and apply for a passport. If in 2005 the laws changed, so if your parent were born on the island of Ireland after 1st of January 2005, you don't have an automatic right to citizenship. It will actually depend on your parents' citizenship at the time of your birth and the residency history of one of your parents before your birth. So it changed after 2005. Okay. So who qualifies for Irish citizenship through descent? So if you have an Irish-born grandparent, if you have a parent who is an Irish citizen at the time of your birth, but not born on the island of Ireland, then you can potentially become an Irish citizen by applying to be entered onto the foreign birth registration. Okay, so some of the benefits of being an Irish citizen: you're officially recognized as an Irish national and also an EU citizen, and you have certain rights, including the right to an Irish passport, to live and work in Ireland, and to live and work in the EU. This is great. You can travel freely among all of the EU member states. Okay, other benefits include being able to request consular assistance from Irish embassies and consulates abroad, and it also opens up avenues for spouses. They can potentially apply for residency permission to live in Ireland and then could potentially naturalize to become an Irish citizen soon once they meet the kind of the residency requirements. So it opens up a lot of doors. Okay, so how does the foreign birth registration process? How do you actually go about being entered onto the foreign birth registration? Okay, so as mentioned, we'll kind of go back over again. Who can apply for the FBR process? If one of your grandparents was born in Ireland, or one of your parents was an Irish citizen at the time of your birth, even though they were not born in Ireland, then you can apply for the foreign birth registration. Once you have been entered onto the foreign birth registration, you're an Irish citizen, and you're then able to apply for an Irish passport. Okay, so how does the foreign birth registration process work? Okay, so it's like a two-step process. The first is an online submission. So you need to complete and submit an online FBR form. You can access that on the Department of Foreign Affairs website. So you need to complete this form online, submit it, and pay the FBR fee. So it's €278 if you're over 18 and €153 if you're under 18. The next step then involves downloading that completed FBR form. You need to get that signed and witnessed, and then you need to send it to the FBR department in Dublin along with all your supporting documents that we'll go through shortly. The current processing time for the FBR process is listed at 2 years. And this is due to kind of the backlogs that built up during COVID. Pre-COVID, it was closer to a year, but they're saying it's 2 years at the moment. Hopefully it'll go back down to pre-COVID processing times as they work through the backlogs. Okay, so what supporting documents are needed for the foreign birth registration process? Okay, so your Irish-born grandparent, you're going to need an original civil birth certificate of the Irish-born grandparent, the long form showing both their parents' names on the birth certificate. You also need an original civil marriage certificate of your Irish-born grandparent, if applicable, or if they've changed their name through some other way, you need an original change of name document. So perhaps they changed it when they naturalized, or through a court order they changed it. You would need that documentation. Okay, and then you also need a photocopy of their current state-issued ID, like a passport, driver's license, national identity card, certified as a true copy by the original by your witness who witnesses your FBR form, or if your grandparent is no longer living, an original civil death certificate. Okay, so to go over that again, your Irish-born grandparent, original long form birth certificate listing both their parents, original marriage certificate, if they were married, or if they changed their name, and the original document showing their name change. And then if they're alive, a true copy of a current state issued ID, or an original death certificate. Okay, so that's the Irish-born grandparent. Okay, the Irish citizen parent. What you need same again. You need an original civil birth certificate of your Irish citizen parent, showing both parents' names on it. We need an original marriage certificate of your Irish citizen parent, if applicable, or if they changed their name, we need an original document showing the name change. And again, we want a true copy of their current state-issued ID, so like a passport or a driver's license, and that will be certified as a true copy by the witness, or if they're no longer living, an original death certificate. Okay, and now on to the applicant. What do you need for the FBR process? So as mentioned before, you need a completed, signed, and witnessed FBR application form. You need your original civil birth certificate showing both parents' names in it. If you're married and you've changed your name, you need an original marriage certificate. If you've changed your name through some other way, you need original documentation showing that name change. You need a photocopy of your current state-issued ID, so a passport or a driver's license. Again, the witness who witnesses your FBR form should certify this as a true copy, your state-issued ID. We need 2 separate recent original proofs of address, bank statements, mortgage statements, property tax bill, utility bills, etc. And 4 color photographs. 2 of these have to be signed and dated by your witness who signs your FBR form. Okay, so if you're a minor applicant, you need all the documents we went through before. You need your completed, signed, and witness application form, your original birth certificate showing both parents. If you've changed your name through any other way, we would need documentation for that. A true copy of your state-issued ID, so a passport, maybe a driver's license, a letter from your school, family doctor, or other relevant source and headed paper, including your address. And we need 4 color photographs, 2 of which to be signed and dated by the witness who witnesses your form. And your parents also, if you're a minor, your parent needs to provide, in addition to all the other documentation they provide, they also need to provide 2 separate proofs of address, recent proofs of address, and 4 color photographs as well, 2 of which have been signed and dated by your witness. So that's an extra requirement for the parents. They need to have proof of address and photographs. Okay. So trying to find out who can be a witness. The witness should be personally known to you and currently practicing in their profession. So examples of acceptable professions is Garda Síochána in Ireland, or a police officer, a school principal, vice principal, a teacher, member of clergy, a doctor, a lawyer, notary public, commissioner for oaths, peace commissioner, bank manager, or assistant bank manager. So basically the witness will, they should certify your current ID as being a true copy. You'll show them your original ID and they'll make a copy and certify it as a true copy. They'll also witness your FBR form. So this is the form you'll print it off and you'll sign that in front of them, and then they will sign it. They'll provide their details and a copy of their witness. They'll stamp it with their stamp if they have it, or a business card if they don't have a stamp, and then they'll sign and date it as well. And they'll also sign and date your passport photos. Okay. So once all that's done, once you've submitted your online application, you have assembled, you printed off the form, you have signed it in front of your witness and gotten it witnessed, you've gathered all of your supporting documentation. So you gather all of this together, and then you send the physical copy to the FBR department in Balbriggan in County Dublin. The process takes about 2 years, as we're saying right now, is roughly about 2 years for the process. The FBR department should send you an email acknowledging the receipt of your application, and then you're not really going to hear anything until they actually get to adjudicating your case. They kind of notify you that they have everything they need, or if they need additional documents, they'll kind of notify you at that point. And then they'll confirm by email that your FBR application has been approved. And then within a few weeks, they'll send you your FBR certificate. And they'll also return any of the original certificates that you included with your application. Okay, so once you've completed the FBR process, you're able to then apply for your Irish passport. So I think it's in 2021 or 2021, they expanded the online application process, passport application process. They basically allow more people to apply online, as opposed to going through the consulates abroad. Okay, so again, the online passport application, this is a two-step process as well. It's kind of similar to the FBR process in that you go onto the Department of Foreign Affairs website, you complete this online identity verification form, you pay your passport fee, $90 if you're over 18 for a standard passport, $35 if under 18. You complete this form, you upload a digital passport photo, and then you submit it, pay the fee, and then you download that identity verification form. Print out the identity verification form, and you need to sign that and get it witnessed, and then gather up the supporting documents, and then you send that physical copy to the passport office in Dublin with your supporting documents. One thing to keep in mind is that the website can be a bit tricky when you're trying to upload your passport photo. I would highly recommend getting an actual digital passport photo, and you get whoever takes it to email it to you, and hopefully that'll make it easier, because it can be a lot of issues trying to upload the passport photo. It can be troublesome, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so the current processing times for Irish passport application, it's roughly about 3 months. I think they list 30 days, but we've seen a little bit in practice. We're seeing a little bit longer. I would say plan for like 3 months, 3-month timeline from when they receive your physical copy to getting your passport. Yeah, and as I said, they recently expanded online passport applications. So now Irish citizens, both adults and children, can apply for first-time passports and renewals if you're a resident in Ireland, Northern Ireland, Great Britain, Europe, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, or the United States. This is great. Before, it used to be just renewals and in certain places, but they expanded that. Okay, so what supporting documents do you need for an Irish passport? So you need a cover page, your signed and witnessed identity verification form, your birth certificate, your long form birth certificate showing parental details, a photocopy of your current state issued ID. And again, we'll get this certified as a true copy by your witness. Proof of your name, proof of your address. So original utility bill, bank statement, and proof of citizenship. So this will, it'll depend. If your citizenship is based off an Irish born parent, you'd want to include their original civil birth certificate of your parent, showing both their parents' names, a copy of their marriage certificate, or an original marriage certificate for them if they change their name through marriage. If you're claiming your citizenship through the FBR process, you want to include your original FBR certificate and a certified copy of your passport as well. Okay, so then you gather all of these documents and then you'll send them to the passport office in Dublin. And as I said, that's kind of takes about 90 days for the process, from start to finish. And it's a lot easier now that it's online. Okay. So we kind of get asked we have questions that come up quite frequently in relation to, the process, applying, documentation. One thing that people want to know is, where can you order Irish certificates? So for the most part, if your births are being registered, if they kind of meet the requirements below and it's been registered, you can order certificates online from hse.ie Civil Registration Service. So any births registered in Ireland from 1864 to present, births registered in Northern Ireland from 1864 to 1921, any deaths registered in Ireland from 1864 to present, deaths registered in Northern Ireland from 1864 to 21, and marriages registered on the island of Ireland from 1864 to 1921, and in the Republic of Ireland from 1922 onwards. So that's great. You can order them from hse.ie. If depending on then in relation to other certificates, depending on where you are, it's really kind of country specific and state specific. I know that in the US you can order through, it will depend on what state you're in. Vital Check, or you can order from like Department of Health Services, usually from the state is where you can order that. Okay, so what information do you need to order your grandparents' Irish birth certificate? You're going to need the full name on their certificate, the date of birth, the place of birth, the gender, the father's full name, if recorded, and the mother's full name at birth, so her maiden name. And you have all of this information, you should be able to order it. I'll skip ahead and then I'll come back to number 3. Okay, so sometimes people they have difficulty. Their grandparents' birth wasn't registered. They're not able to get a copy of their birth certificate. What can they do if they can't get a birth certificate? So if your grandparent was born before 1864, when they kind of centralized registrations of births, centralized records, you can submit their baptismal certificate, and that should be okay in place of the birth certificate. If your grandparent was born after 1864, and you've contacted the Civil Registration Office to try to locate the birth certificate, and they're not able to find it, and they provide correspondence saying that they've searched for it and can't find it, you can submit that letter confirming that there's no birth on record and a baptismal certificate. And I would also probably submit an exclamation saying that you tried to locate the birth certificate but weren't able to. You could hopefully submit that in place of the birth certificate. Okay, another question I've had sometimes is what actually is an original certificate? Sometimes people are confused when a certified copy of a certificate versus a true copy versus an original. So an original certificate is an original copy of a birth, death, or marriage certificate that you get issued through like a government agency or like Vital Check here in the States. So it's actually the original copy that you get. It might not be the original certificate that was issued when your parent was born or grandparent was born, but it's an original government issued certificate. So that's what a copy of one of these won't suffice. It needs to be the original certificate that you get from the government agency. Another thing that we see a lot is if there is mistakes. Sometimes we see it a lot usually it's the Irish grandparent. So there's mistakes in an Irish certificate, say it's an Irish birth certificate, and then a marriage certificate from the US and a death certificate from the US. It could be a small minor mistake, like a spelling of a name. 2 could be, your grandparent, came over and they used kind of an Irish version of their name when they came to the States, or they changed their name slightly. Or it could be like mistakes in date of birth. We've seen it all, really. Generally, the smaller the error, the easier it is to explain. And I've been in touch with the Foreign Birth Registration Department about this. Typically, if there's errors, what we would advise is that you prepare an affidavit explaining the error and that it was a clerical error, and maybe provide an affidavit from yourself and from other individuals who would know your grandparent or your parent, and can kind of attest to the name and the error. And then just try to get any other information kind of showing if you can show their name before and afterwards, and just provide as much information as you can to support that. And then the FBR department, they'll make a decision when they're adjudicating the case, how to proceed. But typically we would have affidavits explaining the errors, and if it's just minor errors, a minor spelling error, they're generally are easier to explain. If you have multiple errors and different dates of births on different documents, different surnames, different first names, the more errors there are, the harder that's going to be to explain. But just try and provide as much information as you can to explain that, and then it'll be up to the officer adjudicating to make a decision. Okay, so when should someone start the FBR process? Based on what I just said about their noticing errors in documents and it being quite frequent, especially between Irish certificates and US ones, I advise that people gather all of the supporting documents before you get started. So gather grandparents' birth certificate, marriage certificate, death certificate, parents' birth certificate, marriage certificate, death certificate if applicable, and your birth certificate, marriage certificate. Gather all of those documents. And what we typically do is we'll cross-reference all of them, we'll do up charts, and we'll identify if there's any issues. Once you have all of those documents, you can figure out if there is any discrepancies and you're in a position to actually explain them, then that's when I would advise either starting your process or contacting our firm to start the process. We can't physically start the process until our clients have all their documents, because, as I said, we need to do that review of all the documents to identify any discrepancies. So I would strongly recommend that individuals gather all of their documents and then contact us and we can start the process. Okay, so how can McEnany Law help with the process? So we can absolutely help. We help clients regularly with the FBR, online and paper submission, and also with the subsequent Irish passport process. If you engage our firm, we'll kind of tell you, we'll give you a detailed document list of what you need. We can tell you where we can advise on where you can order documents for the most part. We don't actually order documents for our clients, but if you want to, we would just bill at an hourly rate separate to our fee that we quote. And that would be a separate hourly rate to actually physically order documents for clients. We would prepare the online FBR submission, send it to you to review. Once you confirm it, we would then submit it, pay the fee, gather all of the documents, prepare your paper submission, send it to you to get witnessed, sign it and get witnessed. If you're in the Chicago area, you can come into our office and I can do all of that for you. Then we prepare the physical form, make a scanned copy of that, share a digital copy of your FBR physical application, and then we'll send that to Ireland. And then same with the passport application as well. We'll help with the online submission. We'll also, we'll print that off. If you're in the Chicago area, you can come in and sign it in front of me, and I can witness it and witness all your documents, or we'll send it to you and you can get it witnessed with. And then you can kind of send it back to us. We'll fully prepare the application, scan it in, give you a digital copy of it, and then we'll send it to Ireland. If anybody is interested, you can reach out to us, email us at info@mcneelylaw.com. We can give you a breakdown of our fees, and we also have a bit of promotion going. We're doing a limited number of free mini consultations for those who attended the webinar. Now it's limited, so don't wait, as you might lose that opportunity to get your mini consultation, as it's a first come, first serve basis. Also, 10% discount on our attorney fee for FBR and or Irish passport applications if you engage our firm. If you engage our firm by February 28th, 2023, we'll offer a 10% discount on our attorney fees. I'll check and see if we have any questions or any chat? No, I don't think we have any questions. Okay, well, look, I hope everybody found this, all of our attendees found this informative and helpful. And another reminder to contact us for the mini free consultation. Numbers are limited. Alrighty, and happy St. Patrick's Day to almost St. Patrick's Day to everybody. It's hard to believe that we're almost there again. Feels like it was only just New Year's yesterday. Okay, well, thanks everybody. Thanks for signing in.